I'm 102 years old. I say that carefully now, because people usually think they heard me wrong. Sometimes I wish they had. I still live alone. That's what surprises people most. They look around this house, the old chair by the window, the pill box on the table, the walker folded against the wall. And then they ask me, "How did you avoid a nursing home?" I usually just shrug. There isn't a clean answer. At this age, time doesn't feel like something ahead of me. It feels like something I'm standing inside, watching it move without me. Every morning I take inventory. Hands still work, legs argue with me, heart steady enough. That's a good morning.
Some mornings, I sit on the edge of the bed for 10 minutes before standing. Not because I can't get up, but because I'm deciding whether I should. People think living this long means you've figured life out. It doesn't. It just means you didn't die yet. I wasn't always like this. Once I moved fast. Once I believed effort could outrun consequences. I grew up in a time when men weren't taught to look inward. You looked forward, you worked, you endured. My father died at 61, worn down by work and silence. At his funeral, men shook my hand and said he was a good provider. No one asked if he was happy. That lesson stayed with me. I married at 28, a good woman, patient, thoughtful. She believed in closeness. I believed in responsibility.
We bought a small house. I promised her stability. I thought that word covered everything. We had 2 children. I remember how small they were, the weight of them in my arms, and I remember how often I put them down to answer the phone. Work always felt urgent. Family felt permanent. I assumed permanent things could wait. They can't. Nothing dramatic happened. That's what people don't understand. No shouting, no betrayal, just distance, added quietly, day after day. My wife learned to do things without me, school meetings, doctor visits, eventually emotional things too. I told myself it was fine, that she was strong, that I was doing my part. Years passed like that, busy years, empty ones too, though I didn't have the word for it then.
By the time I noticed the quiet, it had already settled in. She got sick in her 70s, slow at first, then all at once. I was there physically, but emotionally unsure. I knew how to fix problems. This wasn't fixable. When she died, something collapsed inside me. Not loudly, just permanently. The house didn't feel empty right away. That came later. The children visited more at first. They worried. I told them I was fine. I believed that. At least, I think I did. Aging doesn't announce itself. It negotiates. First, you stop climbing ladders. Then, you stop driving at night. Then, one day, you realize you're planning your week around how tired you might be. Doctors started using gentle words, support, assistance. Friends moved into facilities. Some liked them, some didn't last long. I said I'd stay here as long as I could, not out of strength, out of fear. I didn't want to be managed, didn't want my life reduced to a schedule on a wall. This house knows me. Every sound, every scratch. Leaving it felt like erasing proof. So I adapted. I made my life smaller. Fewer clothes, fewer rooms, the same 3 meals. I learned how to fall safely. I learned how to get back up. Loneliness arrived quietly, not like a storm, like fog. Some days passed without conversation. I'd realize the only voice I heard was the radio. At night, regret gets louder. Not dramatic regret, ordinary regret. Not sitting longer, not asking more questions, not saying, "I can wait," often enough. I assumed time was loyal. It isn't. People ask if I'm proud of living this long. Proud isn't the word. I'm aware of what I chose and what I delayed. Avoiding a nursing home wasn't about independence, it was about familiarity. Here, I'm myself. Somewhere else, I'd be safer. Everything has a cost. I've fallen and waited hours for help. I've gone years without being touched by another person. Independence sounds noble. Sometimes it's just isolation with better wording. Still, I stay. I talk to my wife out loud sometimes. I tell her I finally understand what she needed. I tell her I'm sorry it took so long. I don't expect answers. If someone listening still has people within arm's reach, don't assume they'll wait. Life doesn't punish you for delaying. It just moves on. I'm not bitter. I've had a long life. Long enough to see that success doesn't keep you company, and being busy isn't the same as being close. When my time comes, it will be quiet, like most things that mattered. That's how I avoided a nursing home, by staying put, by holding on. Whether that was wisdom or fear, at this age, they look almost the same.